Today we're diving into the origin of static. What's up guys, BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Now, I'd like to welcome you all to the very first episode of Who's Who. This is a series where I research comic book characters, both well-known and little-known, so I can tell you all about their origin, their abilities, and even give you some recommended reading. And it's only right that we start this series with one of my favorite comic book characters ever. Now, of course, I'm a huge fan of Milestone Media and their basically flagship character, Static. And so I was surprised that a lot of people only know Static from his animated cartoon from the year 2000, and even more people never knew Static existed because they didn't see the cartoon and they weren't aware of the comics way back in 1993 when they came out. So I figured now that Static is starting to heat up, there's been movie announcements, he's gotten new series and things like that, it's time to take a look back at Static's comic book origins. Now, before we get started, I have to let you know that this video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community designed to help you level up your creativity. So if you wanted to learn skills like video editing, photography, or if you're like me and you're trying to learn how to draw on an iPad using Procreate, there's classes there for you. Now, you can check Skillshare out with a free 30-day trial using the link in the description below. Just let them know I sent you. So thanks a lot to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And now, without further ado, I'm very excited to answer the question, who is Static? Static was created by Michael Davis, Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, and Derek Dingle, and made his first appearance in comics in Static #1 from June 1993. Now, you can't talk about Static without mentioning the publisher that made him happen, Milestone Media. To keep it brief, Milestone Media was a comic book publisher founded by 4 black men, Cowan, McDuffie, Davis, and Dingle, with the express goal of bringing more diverse characters and creators into the comic book medium. Their initial run lasted from 1993 to 1997 thanks to a groundbreaking distribution deal with DC Comics. In those years, they sold millions of books and became the largest black-owned comic book publisher in history. Milestone gave us several notable heroes, including Hardware, Icon, and the Blood Syndicate, but no character ended up being as successful as the subject of today's video, Static. In street clothes, Static is better known as 14-year-old Virgil Hawkins. Your typical nerd, Virgil enjoys comic books, video games, Pokemon cards, even tabletop RPGs. I told you, he's a nerd. Now, as you can imagine, Static is picked on a lot, and he's developed quite the witty personality as a result. If you've ever seen the cartoon, you know what I mean. He's always got a wisecrack, and his smart aleck personality gets him into a lot more trouble than he can handle at times. After a particular instance of public humiliation by his bully, gang member Biz Money B, Virgil decides he has to finally take action. He borrows a gun from an older friend and decides he's going to shoot him. The best place to strike? The Big Bang. A huge fight planned between all the rival gangs of Dakota City. Think like the movie The Warriors. Static visits the Big Bang, but ultimately decides not to go through with the shooting. Just as he's about to leave, the police descend on the fight and tear gas all the participants. The tear gas contains an experimental agent designed to tag all the participants for a later arrest, but something goes wrong. The tear gas kills hundreds, but those who don't die develop superhuman abilities. Our boy Virgil was one of the lucky ones. Static's powers are electromagnetic. For starters, he can generate electricity, and this allows him to shock enemies, generate force fields for protection, and use things like manhole covers or trash can lids as transportation. He can also magnetize objects and cause people and objects to stick together through a strong static cling. In my opinion, the best part about Static is watching him use his scientific knowledge to find new ways to use his powers to his advantage. Now, if you're looking to get into Static, you're in luck because there are several great jumping on points. The origin I explained today comes from Static's original comic book series from 1993. You can get the first 8 issues, plus the beginning of every other character in the Dakota universe in the recently released Milestone Compendium, or you can check out the individual series digitally with a subscription to DC Universe Infinite. I'll leave links in the description below. If you're looking for a more modern version of the story, you can check out Static Season 1. It's a brand new reboot written by Vita Ayala with anime-inspired art by Nicholas Draper-Ivey. It's part of the Milestone Return series from 2021, which showcased updated origins for each of the classic Milestone heroes. It offers a great glimpse into Static dealing with the challenges of developing his super abilities, and it really shows the power and love of his family and friends. And of course, I can't talk about Static without mentioning his award-winning animated series. Debuting in the year 2000, Static Shock was produced by original co-creator Dennis Cowan, with Dwayne McDuffie serving as writer and story editor. While there are some changes made to his supporting cast, Static Shock is pretty faithful to the source material and dives into surprisingly deep territory for a show aimed at children. The Static Shock series holds a special place in my heart because it was my first time seeing a black superhero on TV. You can catch all 4 seasons of Static Shock on HBO Max. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. So there you have it, guys. That was the introduction to Static. Now, like I said, if you wanted to read about Static, then check out the original series from the 90s. Check out the brand new Milestone Return series. Whatever you do, do not read that New 52 series. We just pretend that never happened. Now, I'd love to know, who do you guys want to see featured on the next episode of Who's Who? I'm very excited to bring you this series, probably about every 2 weeks or so. So definitely stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next episode. You can check it out in the playlist that's coming up right now. But until then, hope you saw something you liked in this video. And if not, hey, that's cool. Because you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.